Entering an older building has a way of bringing us back into past eras. There was the foam molding, flowery wallpaper, and psychedelic intensity of the 60s. In the 80s, original Art Deco and neon lights dominated people's imaginations. The people that create these aesthetically pleasing spaces are known as interior designers. Interior designers make indoor spaces functional, safe, and beautiful. Often they work closely with architects, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, and construction workers. In this video, we're going to help you answer the question, should you become an interior designer in 2020? We'll cover salaries, the job market, and the latest trends. Coming up. Hey guys and girls, Stephen Hack here with Career Watch, where we help you with your career search. If you end up enjoying the video, hit that thumbs up to support the channel. In this video, there will be quite a few charts and graphs. All of these will be freely downloadable at my blog at careerwatch.co. Feel free to use them however you please. First, let's get into who should become an interior designer. Amanda Hamilton gave her take on what got her into this industry. I had a visual arts background, and interior design brought together all the things that I felt I was good at. For me, it's taking those visual arts skills and transferring them to space. We are dealing with the same kind of rules and things like repetition, color, scale, and form. Plus, it gave me an opportunity to be challenged because it's actually quite technical, much more technical than people realize. One of the easiest ways to determine if an occupation is for you is to figure out your Holland codes. To determine this, either take the strong interest inventory or a similar assessment. I actually linked a free one in the description below. According to the Occupational Information Network, interior designers score high in the artistic and the enterprising themes. People that score high in the artistic theme tend to describe themselves as creative, independent, unconventional, intuitive, and expressive. They are motivated by creative insights and self-expression. People that score high on the enterprising theme tend to describe themselves as ambitious, competitive, persuasive, assertive, and energetic. They are motivated by persuading, selling, and leading. So definitely figure out your Holland codes to determine if this occupation is for you. Next, let's take a look at the salaries of interior designers. This data is straight from the government and doesn't include overtime benefits, bonuses, or commissions. Here's the average base pay over time. In 1999, the average base pay was recorded at $38,360. By 2019, this average pay had risen to $60,990. So from 1999 to 2019, we have a total wage growth of around $23,000 for interior designers. This comes out to a yearly wage growth of about $1,100 per year. The estimated 2020 salary would be around $62,000 per year as a base salary. Here's how that pay breaks down in 2019. This is using percentiles. Starting salary for interior designers would be anywhere up to the 25th percentile. This would be between, say, $30,000 per year and up to around $42,000 per year. The top 10% of interior designers have a lot of years of experience in the field, or they're in a really hot job market. They start at around $96,000 and they go up from there. Many of the differences in pay depend on geography. These 5 states tend to pay interior designers the most amount of money. The 5th highest paying state is the state of Alaska, also known as the last frontier, where the average base pay for an interior designer would be around $70,000 per year. 4th highest would be the state of Arkansas, also known as the natural state. Again, this state is also around $70,000 per year. 3rd highest is the Golden State, or the state of California, where the average base pay is around $71,000 per year. 2nd highest is the state of Arizona, also known as the Grand Canyon state. Average base pay is also around $71,000 per year. And the highest paying state for interior designers is also known as the Ocean State. It is the state of Rhode Island, where the average base pay is around $73,000 per year. We can also break down the pay by work environment. The highest paying work environment for interior designers is in architectural engineering and related services. They pay around $61,000 on average. Then there's specialized design services, around $54,000, wholesale trade companies, around $54,000, and furniture stores on average tend to pay interior designers the least amount of money, with an average base pay of around $48,000 per year. So how does this stack up against similar occupations? How do interior designers compare against similar occupations? Well, here's a collection of similar occupations. Interior designers tend to out-earn graphic designers by a couple $1,000s per year, but they are out-earned by architects who make around $90,000, art directors who make around $110,000 on average, and fashion designers who make around $86,000 per year as an average base salary. One thing to keep in mind about these salary numbers is it doesn't include the self-employed. The government actually reported that 23% of interior designers are self-employed. This is extremely high. To put it into perspective, around 16% of dentists are self-employed, and everyone thinks there's tons and tons and tons of dentists that are self-employed. But also keep in mind that the similar occupations to interior designers, they also have really high levels of entrepreneurship as well. 20% of architects are self-employed, around 59% of art directors are self-employed, 24% of fashion designers, 22% of graphic designers, and about 19% of landscape architects. This is not common across many different occupations. In fact, most occupations have an entrepreneurship rate well below 10%. You would be extremely surprised. Even like plumbers, electricians, they're not at these levels of entrepreneurship. Speaking of architects, I just did a video on architects. Feel free to check it out. This is another really great occupation to look into. Next, let's talk about the job market for interior designers. Is it growing? Is it shrinking? What is the job market like? This data is also from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is a growing occupation, but it is affected by recessions. In 1999, there were around 30,000 employed interior designers. By 2008, this grew to around 53,000 employed interior designers. Then the financial crisis hit. From 2008 to 2012, there was a loss of over 13,000 jobs. So this occupation is deeply affected by recessions, and it was affected by the financial crisis in the late 2000s and early 2010s. This occupation could definitely be affected by the coronavirus. Basically, demand for interior designers is dependent on a couple different things. It is dependent on construction of new buildings, commercial, residential, or government. Jobs are dependent on demand for remodeling and renovating existing homes. The baby boom generation will drive demand for this as they attempt to, say, age in place. Also, any person that has been in an older home knows that aesthetics change. People want different things and people want new things in their homes, so this will also drive demand for interior designers. So how does one become an interior designer? Well, most employers want at least a bachelor's degree. That is what they want on paper, but in practice, things are very different. In 2017, the government did a survey of the education of interior designers, and this is what they found. They found that 2% had less than a high school diploma, 9% had a high school diploma or equivalent, 16% had some college, 12% had an associate's degree, 49% had a bachelor's degree, and 10% had a master's degree. So people in this industry have various levels of education. Just like every occupation, becoming an interior designer has its pros and cons. People that are attracted to this occupation tend to be creative and self-expressive, ambitious, and somewhat competitive. Many employers want you to have at least a bachelor's degree to get into this occupation, but in practice, many people actually do not have a bachelor's degree that are working in this occupation. Interior designers were deeply affected by the financial crisis in the late 2000s and early 2010s, and they are most likely being affected right now during the coronavirus pandemic. This isn't a recession-proof occupation. Are you an interior designer? If so, help the younger generation. Let us know what you enjoy about this occupation and what you dislike about this occupation. Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.